So in this video, we will be talking about how to use biological reactions to control the VOCs. And the funny part, this was my PhD work. It's all about the use of bioreactions for the control of VOCs. And I've done this for a lot of years in my life. So one of my favorites. The types of bioreactors that are there are biofilters, biotrickling filters, and bioscrubbers. They are all very similar to each other in how they operate, but I will tell you what is the difference. So the whole idea here is that, remember, similar to the oxidizers, where we had the reaction CHO plus O2 will give you CO2 and H2O. This was happening, why? Heat or temperature, high temperature, energy. So you can actually reach the same reaction by having bacteria or any other microorganisms, what you call microbial. So bacteria does in its metabolism, while it's growing, it actually uses this reaction to gain energy for reproducing. So when bacteria sees a hydrocarbon, they try to break it down, get the energy, and do two cells. And then another cell, break down, and do two cells. Can you tell me of any example, that this happens in nature? That's not really biology, that's real life. And I want an example of in real life, not from the biology class. And it's a little bit black, but when we bury our dead, this is exactly what happens. The bacteria, how does the body dissolve in the ground? Decomposition. Bacteria. The bacteria is actually doing this reaction. It keeps using our carbon from our body, breaking it down. And this is the only reason life can continue on Earth, because if this doesn't happen, life would have stopped long time ago, because it's a cycle. So you see, it's not really biology, it's just everything is connected at one point. Okay, so now this is really well known, and we use this reaction. Have you taken the 375, the water and wastewater class? When you take the water and wastewater class, you will find that this microbial reaction is actually happening in wastewater. We do it, we enforce it to be done to break down the wastewater, because the wastewater, again, is hydrocarbons, the organic portion of it. So we really know this reaction very well. But in air, it's a little bit tricky. Why? Because bacteria can only live in water. They don't really live in the air. So how will we break down contaminants in the air by microbes that only live in the water? Just to have a little bit of wet surface. Okay, yeah, just by wetting the surface. So if you, for example, see in any beach, you will find the water, right? And you will find some rocks. You will find that there is here growth of bacteria or algae. You can see that there is growth even above the water. That does not mean that the bacteria can live outside of water, but it means it's wet enough so to have a little bit of water layer that makes sure that the bacteria can go. So in this type of reactors, we need to have sufficient moisture, this water, very thin water layer. We have to have nutrients, because that's important for the growth of microorganisms. We need to have to give them nitrogen and phosphorus and vitamins, similar to us, right? Temperature should be between 60 to 85 Fahrenheit, which is room temperature, basically. And the pH of this water needs to be between 6 to 8. Does not need to be, can go lower, but the regular, traditionally is in this range. So a biofilter system looks like this. This part. I'm sorry. It's this part where the waste air goes into a reactor. The reactor has some media here where the water that's trickling and the air has to go through. This media could be something natural, similar to gravel, similar to compost and wood barks and something coming from nature. Or it could be a synthetic one, could be plastic rings and plastic. There are a lot of shapes. Or could be activated carbon. Some companies use activated carbon, similar to what we talked about, the adsorption, also as material. So this is media. So this media here, okay, I will not draw it, but what happens that if you have this packing, right? Imagine it's gravels like this one. And then the air and the water, they're coming through. So now there is a water layer that just drops, that's trying to find their way around the stones, right? And then the air is also trying to find any grooves to go through. So if we take a look here, what's really happening that on the surface, if this is the surface, we will have a thin layer of what we call biofilm. This biofilm has bacteria in it, and then it has water, very thin water layer on top of it. The gas, while it's coming here, contaminated, let's say with VOC, some of this VOC will find its way into the biofilm. Bacteria finds it and converts it into CO2. So you end up having a cleaner airstream coming out. Make sense? Out of this, you get clean air. You get clean air and you get leachate, which is the water that's coming out of this process. This water will have more or less microbes, bacteria, right? It will not really have the VOC because the VOC actually is destroyed in the process. It's not like a scrubber. Remember the scrubber? Where just the VOC is coming to the water? No, this time it's the VOC comes to the water, but then it's destroyed. So in a biofilter, we take the waste and we remove the particulate temp and we do temperature control. We pass it through a humidifier to make it more wet before we put it inside the bed. In a biotrickling filter, we do recycle the water. It's exactly the same idea. But we recycle the water that we collect down there, we put it back up. Okay? And then in a bioscrubber, we have a combination of two. The scrubber part and another reactor where more biological degradation is happening further. That's very similar to wastewater. That's really what's happening in wastewater treatment, this one. And this is the biofilter for air what's happening earlier on. So it's just different designs and different combinations. And I have to tell you that whoever you talk to, they will have a completely different designs with the same name. So the biofilter is, in some people's definition, has a completely different design than what you see here. This is just one interpretation. So the designs really vary. Where do you see that in UAE? I'll tell you now, right now, where they use them a lot. They use them in all the wastewater treatment plants. You can either find a biofilter or a biotrickling filter. Where for odor treatment, for the breakdown of H2S with the same concept. So they take the foul gas and they put it inside a biofilter or a biotrickling filter, and they break down the H2S to get rid of the smell, of the bad smell. Any questions?
I have one that Charlton, they got to they did